The reason is that if you can understand the mindset of the UPSC, you can very well do that. And that is what I always say in all of my sessions wherever I teach. So UPSC is easy to crack provided you want to be cracking it. Because if you want to be cracking it, you will understand what the UPSC demands from you, and in order to fulfill that demand, you will work accordingly, because you are not the person who is wanting UPSC. Means you are wanting UPSC and your want doesn't matter that much. It is that UPSC should be wanting you, and in order for UPSC should be wanting you, you need to fit in the shoes of UPSC. So that is the thing that you need to generally focus upon. So Gandhi and non-cooperation movement, we have already understood it. So what is going to be the methods that is going to be used? So up till now, whatever methods have been there in the Indian subcontinent, all of those methods, they were generally used at that point of time. All of those methods, they were generally used at that point of time, such as the boycott of government schools, colleges and courts, surrender of government titles. Now this was asked in the UPSC Prelims 2025. Okay, titles, this one word was asked. So if you had read this content, it was very much easier for you to solve it. Then promotion of indigenous goods, obviously there was the Swadeshi aspect. Organizing strikes and lockout, obviously yes, it was the extremist aspect. Peaceful court arrest, obviously yes, because Gandhi ji had taught that during the Rowlatt Satyagraha. Promotion of national education and refusal to participate in elections, that was also there. Now here you might be wondering, what is the participation of elections? So just keep this in mind that whenever there will be a new GOI Act, after that there will be the aspect of elections. Just keep this in mind. Why? Because just understand that after the Constitution of India, it was created in the year of 1949. Okay, India got independence in 1947, but there was no elections just after 1947. Okay, the first general elections, but the first general elections, they happened in the year of 1951, 1952. Why? Because the Constitution of India, it was created in 1949 and majority of it was implemented in the year of 1950. The Constitution was implemented, brought into action, and it was on the basis of the Constitution that the first general election assembly was conducted. Okay, general elections, they were conducted. So whenever a new government, means whenever a new governance laws come into place, a new election would be conducted according to that new governance laws. So the Government of India Act 1919 came. After that, elections were to be conducted, but we boycotted it. Then the Government of India Act 1935 will come, and after that also elections will be conducted. Why? Because a new governance mechanism laws had come into place. So that is what, just keep that into mind. Okay, so that is going to be the scenario at that point of time. All right, so this is one major thing. Now the third aspect, it is going to be, then there is also going to be the resignation from the legislative councils. Okay, the resignation from the legislative councils. All right, here that is going to be there. Then there is the promotion of Hindu Muslim unity. This was one another thing that was taken up. Then organization of marches and rallies, and then resignation from government services. So this was also a additional point that could have helped you solve the UPSC prelims question in the 2025. So these were the methodologies that were adopted in the non-cooperation Khilafat movement. All right, now and this was the method that was accepted to in the first phase that we were to use. Here what you can see, here can you see a massive disobedience that is there? No, there was no disobedience. There was only the aspect of, they are not telling that we are going to violate all the laws. Whatever laws the Britishers have made, we will violate everything, we will not accept to any of the laws. Were they saying that? No, because of that would be there, that would mean disobedience. But here can you see that? Obviously not, there was nothing of that sort. So that is why this is what non-cooperation. Just after that, when we have already spoken of the all India all party conference that was held, and here there was the program of boycott of schools, colleges and law courts, and asked Gandhi to lead it. It was the boycott. Okay, it was the boycott. That means we will not go to them. That was the scenario. They are not telling that we will reject everything. Boycott and disobedience has a subtle difference between them. Then on August 31st, 1920, Khilafat committee started a campaign of non-cooperation and the movement was formally launched. However, Tilak had just passed away. On September 1920, a special session in Calcutta, the Congress approved the non-cooperation program till the Punjab and Khilafat wrongs were removed and Swaraj was established. And the program was to include boycott of government schools and colleges, boycott of law courts and dispensation of justice through panchayats. This was asked in the prelims 2025. Okay, this statement, okay, it was asked in the prelims. This statement was asked in the prelims. Okay, so through the panchayats, boycott of legislative councils, there were some differences here that some of the people, that is some of the nationalists, they are going to say that no, we should not boycott the legislative councils, rather we should be there in the legislative councils, but many are going to say that we shall boycott it. So there were some differences over this, as some leaders like CR Das, they were not willing to include a boycott of councils but bowed to Congress discipline. These leaders boycotted elections held in November 1920 and the majority of the voters too stayed away. And then there was also boycott of foreign cloth and the use of khadi would be there, and practice of hand spinning was to be done. Renunciation of once again government honors and titles, this was asked in the examination. So the first phase, it was including of that. The second phase would include mass civil disobedience, including resignation from government services and non-payment of taxes. So that was the civil disobedience second phase. All right. However, it was yet to be launched. If the government does not fulfill to the demands, then the civil disobedience would be launched. And during this particular movements, also a constructive phase of national movement was also there. That particular constructive phase of national movement, what did it mean is that at this point of time, that particular constructive phase, what it would mean is the strengthening of the systems in India. The strengthening of the systems in India. That means constructive. Constructive, it basically means that in the when the non-cooperation movement was done, everything that would strengthen the non-cooperation movement, those steps would be generally taken. Okay, such as Hindu Muslim unity, abolition of untouchability, creating awareness, okay, then creating much more unity. So all of such steps that would lead to the strengthening of the movement, that would be generally taken here, and that would be known as constructive practices. This is what is being told here. Okay, so that is going to be the scenario. Now when we talk on the another aspect, okay, when we talk on this aspect of constructive program, so what can we understand here in the constructive program is that during the movement, the participants, they were supposed to work for Hindu Muslim unity, prohibition of alcoholic drink, fostering of temperance, establishment of national education, establishment of national educational institutions, collection of fund worth 1 crore rupee, removal of untouchability, and all the time it should remain non-violent. So here what can you see is that it was an initiative for socio-economic development within the country. Okay, for example, the constructive program here, what would be there, that if we are doing the Swadeshi, what would the Swadeshi mean is that the indigenous industries, they would be developed. So when indigenous industries would be developed, that means employment would be provided, poverty, it would be reduced, Indian industries would be developing, so capital accumulation will be there for the Indians on in the Indian side. So we will basically become what? Self-sufficient and self-independent, that is the Indians. So if we were self-sufficient and self-independent, and if we had to carry on a movement and if we had to carry on a movement against the Britishers, will we have the sufficient money to carry on the movement? Will we have the sufficient money that even if we do not go for the jobs in the future, for 1 year we could do the movement? Yes. So economically, we strengthened ourselves so that in the future, we will be able to do the movement. Okay, then politically education, that means politically educate the people on how things were to be done, how movements were to be done. so that more awareness when the people came about, so in the future they would increasingly participate. If the work on Hindu Muslim unity was done here, so what would happen is that in the future, in spite of the Britishers, if they want to divide the Indians will not be divided. So there would be unity, and in the future there will be much more nationalism that would be there at that point of time. So this is what we understand from the constructive practices at that point of time. All right, so this is what we are understanding in that particular scenario, okay, as to how the movement was carrying forward and what was the particular level of, okay, what was the particular level of, methods that are going to be used.